Graham Burfield is the founder of Burfield and Associates. From his early days at Deloitte, he now has over 30 years experience, medical practices, agricultural businesses, property, tradies, hotels, people who run their own small businesses. He has so much experience under his belt. Basically, when it comes to tax and accounting over the last 30 years, Graham's seen it all.
Have a look at what the business could achieve,
Yes.
what they need to do to get it there.
Yeah. I've got a lot of questions for him about starting from scratch.
Hello, my name's Graham Burfield and I'm on the Accountants on Purpose podcast.
Hi, I'm Sarah Bartholomew's from ULegal. The Accountants on Purpose podcast showcases inspiring accountants who are leaders in their field.
And then it just came to me like a bolt of blue.
What makes them tick?
Love it.
How did they get to where they are? I want to inspire. And what do they do now for their teams, their clients, and the world? Describe yourself in one word.
My word would be persistent. Some people prefer the word stubborn.
When you say some people, who do you mean?
Family members, wife, children.
Team members?
No, I haven't had that much from them.
Okay, well, that's good. It's a good start. Probably in a dictionary, maybe a thesaurus, they'd be close together anyway.
Yeah. There's someone else who I know well professionally who describes me as a nag. And she uses that as part of the basis for referring me new clients, which is interesting.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah.
Positive spin on it. What's the first thing you did this morning to get ready? Do you have a routine?
I have a slightly different routine for each day of the week. But the one constant is the first thing I do just about every morning is get up and feed the dogs.
Well, that sounds integral to their survival.
Of course. Yeah, Mondays I go swimming sometimes or not. Either that or just go to work. Tuesdays and Thursdays, Helen and I go to EFM for a bit of exercise. And Wednesdays I go straight to work because, to get an hour or so's work in before we head off to breakfast with the family. So it's just part of the weekly routine.
Is that your wife and kids as well?
Yes, wife and son and daughter's boyfriend.
Oh, that's a really nice routine.
Yeah, we like it.
So what's a book that you've read that completely inspired you?
I relatively recently read a book called How to Avoid a Fall from Grace. After I read it, I bought 20 copies, all signed by the author, and gave them to clients who I thought really needed to read it. I'm thinking of setting them an exam on it, actually.
That's a book that's relatively familiar to me.
Yeah, it ought to be.
Because I wrote it. So that's very nice of you to say. Do you have any mentors? How important have mentors been in your journey?
I guess I've had a number of mentors over the years in different contexts, in family and work and sport environments. Mm-hmm. My father's always been a valuable source of guidance and support. Some former employers have also taught me a lot about life in the profession. Mm-hmm. I don't really have anyone in that role at the moment in a business sense. So, do you know where I could find one?
No, maybe listening to this podcast.
Well, you never know.
You've been the principal of a successful accounting firm for the first 4 years, a startup accounting firm. When you started, or even in the days since then, Burfield and Associates, did you ever find yourself doing something you thought was impossible? And how did you do it?
Yeah, initially I've struggled with the concept of getting all of the clients who I'd introduced into the last firm I worked in to follow me out. Mm-hmm. So I was fortunate that my relationship with the partners in that firm was such that they were fine with me approaching them on the basis that their key relationship was me.
Yes.
So that made it a whole lot easier. Although there was still that lingering doubt until I actually had their acknowledged commitment. So,
that's true. It can be a contentious issue in professional services firms.
Definitely.
What have you learned in your previous roles that you feel prepared you to be able to run your own practice?
I think more than anything else, the value of relationships. Recognising that and that I don't and can't know everything.
Yes.
And having a network of contacts who know things that I don't and who are prepared to share the knowledge and experience.
Yeah, that's super important. I found that too. You said in an article you wrote about managing people, being one of the toughest parts of running a business. What are your tips for success with your team?
To be honest, I probably shared rather than wrote that article, but I think one of the most important elements is communication, and not just about getting the work done. It's important, I think, to understand your team members' own goals and aspirations and what they are, recognise that they may not be the same as your own, but it's just important to be aware of them and to understand them and work with them. I've found that sharing my plans for the firm with my team members has really helped them to take more ownership in their part and their role in trying to achieve those plans. And also, when they do a great job, don't keep it a secret.
Yes.
And if something goes wrong, celebrate the wins. If something goes wrong, which it does from time to time, because I like to give people opportunities to make mistakes, treat it as a training opportunity rather than a flaw.
That's a good way to think about it. Do you do personality profiling or any tests
I haven't.
Like that to work out where the strengths are in your team? And
short answer is no. I did with one employee I took on a contract basis a couple of years ago, and it seemed like kind of helpful at the time, but I basically largely go on gut feel through having a conversation. My attitude is that, looking at where they've been, what they've already accomplished, and then so anything they don't already know how to do if they've done certain things, I can teach them what I need to. I can train them. Then it's just a question of whether or not I can spend all day sitting in an office with them, and vice versa.
That's true. I'm a bit of a nerd when it comes to those personality profile tests. I like doing the Myers-Briggs one. I like doing the DISC one. I know there's a bunch of other ones. So, yeah, they're just fun. We've got a client that's a startup, and we went to visit their office, and they've got where everyone in their office sits on the DISC profile up on their wall.
Okay.
So you can see who's good at this, why is this person being like this? Oh, it's just something because of their personality, and I won't hold it against them. I think as your team grows, it's probably a good idea to be across it maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it doesn't hurt. I think one of the more difficult things that will happen from time to time is no matter how much of yourself and your business you invest in someone's development, once in a while they're going to leave.
True.
And then it's difficult not to take that personally.
It is. I know.
Just have to move on.
I know. I feel like as business owners, we do take it more personally than employees take it too.
I think so, yes.
What does success mean to you?
Success can be a lot of things. And there can be little things that are successes, and there's bigger long-term successes. Like sometimes as small as just an expression of gratitude from a client goes a long way to making everything seem more worthwhile.
Some people get presents from their clients.
I know, I get those sometimes, or from referrers or things like that. So that's really
special.
Cool. But sometimes it's just something is like you send out an invoice, and sometimes literally within minutes, you get a notification back that they've paid it. You think, oh, okay. Some people would see that saying, oh, obviously didn't charge enough. But
that they're grateful.
I prefer to think of it as they're being grateful for the service.
Yes.
Long term, I think, and I didn't make this up, but I think it works. I think success means having choices to be able to do whatever you want, whenever you want, and with whomever you want to do it.
I love that one.
I don't claim to have authored that one, but I heard it from somewhere and it made sense, so I've gone with it.
I feel like I've even maybe shared a meme with that on it once.
Quite possibly.
Because it meant so much to me when I read it. So there you go, we're like-minded on that.
Of course.
You apparently have 6 secrets for getting prompt payments. Well, we've just been talking about that. You have to tell us these secrets. Positive cash flow is so important for any business. So this is extremely interesting to me and hopefully our listeners.
Well, of course, if I tell you, there won't be secrets anymore.
No, that's true.
I guess there's a few that seem fairly obvious, which include invoicing straight away. When I was in my Deloitte days, one of the partners there used to say that the best time to hand over the invoice is when the client's cheeks are still wet with the tears of gratitude.
Oh, that's a very good saying.
So I've gone with that. Also, make sure your invoices make sense.
Yes.
Make sure the invoice includes an actual payment due date rather than just something innocuous like 14 days or X many days after invoice. So,
good tip.
some people like to offer benefits for early payments.
Yeah.
There might be modest discounts for prompt payment.
I think my electricity bill does that.
Yeah, they can be complicated to administer, depending on the numbers involved. Also, make payment options easy. Give people the option to pay by credit card or BPay. Credit card people like to use it because they get points.
Do you do BPay? Have BPay as an option?
No, I haven't needed to yet, but I'll work with that one. Look into it.
Yeah, we were talking about direct debit arrangements as well.
Yeah, well, direct debit arrangements work very well if you're on a regular retainer sort of system. So then the client, they've agreed a suite of services up front and organised the frequency of payment and billing, and it just happens it just gets embedded into a system and just happens. The important thing with those sort of arrangements is that is avoiding scope creep. So if you're going to be on a monthly retainer, I think the biggest part of the biggest part about getting paid on time is making sure there's no surprises.
Definitely. And the first thing you said was invoicing quickly. So then would your team be invoicing every day, or do you invoice weekly? Is there an invoicing rhythm, I suppose, or is it
it's different?
As and when needed?
Yeah, it's different for different clients and different types of engagements. So if I finish a compliance engagement, I'll invariably invoice it within a couple of days. But there's other clients will do ongoing work for, they just invoice monthly. So monthly retainers are good if you can get the numbers right.
Yeah, that's the challenge, isn't it, for professional services?
Oh, that's right. You need to have a very clearly articulated set of services that the fee covers, and of course anything provided outside that needs to attract an additional fee. Be scoped
separately. Yeah. So what's been your biggest hurdle in your business or career so far?
In starting the business, I was lucky, and that all the clients that I'd introduced in the last practice all followed me out, so that gave me a good start.
Yes.
Some of those grew ridiculously quickly, and 3 of them were lured away by larger practices in the same 12-month period.
Disappointing.
Which was disappointing, but I guess for them it made good business sense. But it just put a big hole in my revenue, which took a fair bit of recovering from. So, so I had to spend, these were clients I'd done a lot of work with and saved them a substantial amount of tax and things like that. So, again, it's one of those things that's like with the employment thing, it's difficult not to take it personally.
Yeah, and I guess maybe it's also perception, like that you were part of a bigger firm before that, and then you were running your own show, albeit with a fair bit of support, but maybe, that's how they got lured away.
It happens. And on reflection, every new client for me is one they have to win from someone else. So it's just business.
Goes around, comes around.
Yeah. Then the next challenge is just replacing the work.
So what's been, who or what has been your biggest motivator then? What is it that gets you out of bed in the morning to feed the dogs?
Sometimes it's just plain old fear of failure. Mostly, I just love working with small business owners and to help them achieve their goals, help them save some tax, help them. Some of them are just the sounding board. If we have one of my clients I see regularly is a sole owner of an IT company that employs about 10 people.
Yeah,
and I catch up with him on a probably a quarterly basis to have a chat about where things are going, what he's been up to, what his plans are moving forward. Super
entrepreneurial.
Yeah, and a lot of times it may not be providing a lot of hardcore advice, but he just likes having someone who understands where he's at to bounce things off.
So one thing that you mentioned there that you do for clients, I think, is you tend to set them up so that they understand their metrics for their success a lot. So that's what you and I have talked about a lot. So people who are small business owners, maybe a tradie and haven't read the E-Myth, so don't understand that, there's quite a different skill set from being a worker to being a business owner, I think you can often add a lot of value to clients where you can help show them what's required for the steps to grow. Can you tell me a bit more about that?
Yeah, some of that is helping them with, having a look at how they do things in terms of their administration of their business, what sort of systems they're using to manage their time and resources, whether they need to invest in other systems to help with invoicing and workflow management. Just do
like a whole day on the weekend of invoicing rather than having somebody.
Oh, exactly. So I'll have a look at where they seem to be losing some time, and I can then refer them on to a cloud integrator or someone similar who has specialist knowledge in providing those sort of IT solutions for helping to streamline those parts of the operations. Then the business owner can spend more time dealing with either their own employees, marketing their business, doing other things to help them actually generate more money.
More high value, I guess, items. But I think you've even talked to me about how you help them work out at what point they're ready for that next employee.
I have, yes. Sometimes I had
because that as a business owner can be so hard to know because, what you were talking about before, your clients aren't always super stable. So how do I know it's going to continue on the trajectory that it has been? Trajectory.
I guess you always have to make a few assumptions, but you need to have a look at the numbers. A little while ago, I had a sole trader electrician who was just way too busy. He was also getting sick of crawling around roof spaces all the time, and he wanted to know whether or not he could afford to take on a full-time employee plus a van and everything that goes with it. So we worked it out. So it had a look at what his initial costs would be in setting it up, what the ongoing costs would be.
Yes.
Looked at and had to factor in the reduction in his own income generating capacity because he'll be feeding all this work to the employee, but also assuming that they would be able to continue to grow the revenue base. And we worked out that it was going to be able to work out quite well for him. Not straight away; it would take a few months, but it was definitely working well. And I've been touching base with him since then, and it is working.
It's working, excellent. So I love that you plan for success for your clients. It's so brilliant.
Yeah, well, that's the fun part of what I do.
Yeah. Rather than being reactive and saying, oh my goodness, you've just got this statement of claim. What should we do? Trying to avoid that.
Yep, like to plan ahead, keep people, keep them mindful of what's coming up.
They know what to expect.
Have a lot to expect. Have a look at what the business could achieve.
Yes.
What they need to do to get it there.
Yeah. Cool. Now, it's been so great having you here today. Is there anything that I haven't asked you that I should have?
Well, you haven't asked me if I'd like a whiskey yet, but I guess there's still time.
We have had coffee.
That's a good start. It is only 11:30 in the morning.
It's true. Thanks for tuning in to the podcast today. If you're still listening, you can find the show notes on our website, ulegal.com.au. You're welcome to go ahead and subscribe, leave a review, and share the podcast with anyone that you think might benefit from it. Anyone that you think is open to helping us create a world with a purpose that's higher than profit. If you're an accountant on purpose, feel free to find our Facebook page and join our community.